Over the last few decades, Australia has experienced one of the greatest housing booms the world has ever seen. Since 1973, Australian house prices have increased 36 times across the capital cities. Sydney is now the second most unaffordable place to live in the world. How did we end up here? This is the dark side of Australia. Australia is one of the most beautiful places on Earth, surrounded by oceans, world-class beaches, cities, and parks. The country looks like paradise, but living here is easier said than done. To buy the median home in Melbourne, a family needs to earn at least $170,000 per year. In Sydney, that number balloons to $260,000. Meanwhile, the median household income sits around $100,000. Home ownership is far out of reach for most Australians. Some argue this is just a Sydney or Melbourne issue, but that's simply not the case. Since 2020, house prices in Brisbane, Adelaide, and Perth have risen over 50%, while wages only grew 12%. Young Australians are falling behind. Their dream of owning a home fading fast. VO clip, imitate voice quote. Oh, it's rough. We can't find anything really. Home ownership rates for Australians under 34 have fallen by nearly 25%. And what about renting? Surely that's easier. Sadly, no. Median rents in Sydney now exceed $3,000 per month. Brisbane isn't far behind at $2,500. Since 2020, annual rental rates have skyrocketed 8% per year. People are trying to pay 2024 rent prices with 2011 wages. Open homes are flooded. Dozens, even hundreds, compete for a single unit. 100 other people applied for my apartment. It was really difficult. Renters aren't fighting for luxury. They're fighting for a place to live, a place to sleep, a place to call home. Why is real estate out of control? The first culprit many point to is immigration. Between 2022 and 2023, Australia welcomed 740,000 people, the highest number in modern history. More demand, same supply, higher prices. But immigration alone isn't to blame. Australia's migration rate is in line with historical averages. Yet, housing construction has sharply declined. In 2023, only 170,000 dwellings were completed, the lowest in a decade. Since the 1960s, home building relative to population has been falling. Why? Culture. Australia has long favored suburban sprawl over urban density. Sydney and Melbourne average 2,000 people per square kilometre. London has 6,000. Even with vast land, red tape and not in my backyard activism have slowed new housing approvals to a crawl. It takes 111 days to approve a single home in New South Wales, 288 days in Liverpool. In Texas, less than a week. Another key factor, tax incentives. In the 1930s, Australia introduced negative gearing, allowing investors to deduct rental property losses from income tax. By the 1980s, cheap debt and generous tax rules made property the best investment in the country. In 1999, the government cut capital gains tax by 50%. And inside a super account,